who've got their relatives working at the Balasore station. And apart from that, also one report that has essentially come in is from the route relay interlinking board, and they basically they've indicated that the records that have come in as far as the signals are concerned, the Coromandel Express was given the signal for the main line, but effectively what happened is that it went on the loop line. That's where the goods train was stationary. Coromandel Express basically collides into the goods train, and a little later Yashwantpur Express was on the adjacent track. So the signal was also given for Yashwantpur Express, but effectively it turns out that both the trains were moving parallelly. That's what we are picking up. So this entire thing about whether at all there could be a delay on the part of the station master for the signal to be given to Yashwantpur, whether at all there could be a last minute change that they could have done, that theory seems to have been taken off the window, because simply because of the fact that if they were on adjacent tracks, then there was very little time for any sort of messaging that could have been done to Yashwantpur Express to perhaps stop the train. And the other important aspect is the fact that on the loop line, how exactly did Coromandel Express get onto the loop line, because there also the track changes takes place. So that's another important aspect of it, whether at all there has been some sort of a technical fault that the railway minister was basically referring to. So there is a possibility, because when I spoke to some of the locals here, they say that their friends who've been at Balasore station, they say that there is a possibility that the track change went haywire, and that's the reason why Coromandel Express, what you see behind me, that train jumped onto the loop line where the stationary train was there, the goods train was there, and it collided. And as far as Yashwantpur Express is concerned, it was on the other mainline track, and it continued moving on that after the passing was actually given. It was on the adjacent line, and as you can see, the distance isn't much. So if the derailment has actually happened, and with the intensity, the speed at which the train was actually traveling, at the collision when it took place, locals here say that the bogies flung on the other side. So if there were some bogies that you see right now, that will give you a sense, the bogies went off the track, fell off on the other side, and that's where the locals had also come in. So the intensity was maximum, if I may say so, and that's the reason why you see the impact that it took, the hit that it took, and most of the coaches of at least Coromandel Express derailed, and of course that led to the collision with Yashwantpur Express. So there are 2-3 aspects that perhaps when the inquiry is carried out, they would be looking into. What exactly is the technical fault are we talking about? Is it to do with the track changing, as some of the locals have been hinting at? Because they say that with the electronic transition that has taken place, most of when the train track changes takes place, if there is a gap in it, then it could lead to a situation like what we are seeing right now. So that's one theory. The second theory is whether at all there was a mistake as far as the signalling is concerned. Now that's the other aspect, but all of this with the advancement of technology is purely recorded these days. So you have the route relay interlinking board, which would be looking into this entire aspect of the signals, and of course with regards to the track movement also, that would be part of an inquiry, something that the railway minister had already hinted. But right now it's not about looking into what really went wrong, because for the railway authorities it would be extremely important to ensure that every body that is trapped inside the mangled remains here, it is extricated, taken to the nearby hospital, the identification takes place as soon as possible, and the body is then handed over to the family members. That's priority number one. Secondly, they are certainly looking at they're saying that we're not losing hope, that if at all there are survivors, then they're hoping that the survivors would be taken out immediately from here, taken to the hospital and provided with the necessary medical treatment. And that's the reason why, if you see, the number of ambulances that have been brought in has also increased substantially, because when the incident took place, the fear was something that we've been reporting also after the Chief Secretary of Odisha mentioned that there weren't enough ambulances, and that's the reason why local buses were actually mobilized. And once again, I'm reiterating this, Niranjan, there is a lot of effort that has been made by the locals here, and that is the reason why, if you see, if a lot of passengers could have been saved, it's also because of that immediate response that actually came in from the locals, and the locals play a very, very important role. In fact, they say that the first response that came in after they dialed the ambulance was about a couple of minutes, and within a couple of minutes you've had the ambulances also reaching. So the response certainly has been quite prompt. That has enabled them to ensure that the rescue operation is done in a speedy manner. And as we speak, the rescue operation still continues. I think so, Niranjan, I'll just go across to you, because from my side, while Niranjan, not just going in right now, because right now on the screens is this bogie that has now been lifted, Niranjan. From the time I've been here, in fact, from the time I've been here, I have been seeing almost all the engineers, everyone essentially focusing on this very long bogie that you see. This is not the passenger bogie. This is, if I can read from the board, it is written the high capacity parcel van. So effectively it would be the luggage van that would be brought in. So as you can see right now, they are lifting that, assuming that this would be taken and perhaps put on the other side. That could be the other objective of it. So clearly, let's stay with this, because as we've been pointing out, the NDRF officials here, the engineers who have been here, they've been constantly referring to the fact that if they are able to remove this very bogie right now, it would certainly expedite this entire rescue operation. And that is the reason why these big cranes have brought in. I'll ask Babaji not to move the frame right now, because while this could take a much more longer time than what we are expecting, but the fact of the matter is that this is right now, ladies and gentlemen, the most important part of the rescue operation, so that they are able to carry forward. Because I'm not very sure, but let's just make this small attempt to give you another view from here, because that's where, if you can see, Niranjan, you on the other side could actually also take a look at the Yashwantpur Express or the Coromandel Express. Correct me if I'm wrong, Niranjan. I think that the green bogies that we can see from here would be the Coromandel Express, if I'm not wrong. You can get a closer look of it as this entire process of lifting of the bogie continues. So this entire process is underway. Niranjan, why don't you also give us an update? But I would tell our producers to stay with this image while you also describe what's happening on the other side.
Shawan, I have some breaking news right now. In fact, I just spoke to one of the railway officials here, one of the engineers who spoke to me also earlier, and it's exactly what he had told me, some time back. That you see that green, if Mukut can focus on the green bogie there, that's the Coromandel Express green bogie. He says that there are still some bodies in that bogie. So their effort will also be to try and see if overnight perhaps they try and remove the bodies from that bogie. Similarly, he had told us about the other bogie from where they found 3 more bodies. So it appears that that this is going to take some time. Meanwhile, look at this. They're pulling this bogie as well. They're trying to pull it to the side. They're going to overturn this bogie now, because they'll have to remove them one by one, so that the entire dismantling. So that if it can be dismantled. One, it can be dismantled. Secondly, so that it makes it easier for them to remove the other bogies. These 2 cranes here have been called in, and this bogie is being pulled out. So similarly, you saw that other bogie here. Here this is a completely dismantled one was brought to the side. They're trying to pull it to this side, to adjacent to the tracks, so that the tracks themselves can be cleared. So one quick update, that in that green bogie, which is perched on top of a goods bogie which was carrying mineral ore. On top of that, the green one which is hanging in the air, which is perched right on top,